In Gaza there are already thousands of civilian victims. About half of them are children. There is a severe shortage of food, water, electricity, fuel, everything. Yesterday I was briefed by the United Nations, organizations working. The situation is critical from the point of view of the working of hospitals, with a collapse of the health systems and a grave lack of medicines and medical supplies. We can say that the 7th of October, the terrorist attack of the 7th of October, changed the paradigm of already fragile situation. On the 7th of October, following the Hamas attack, I said that Hamas has harmed the Palestinian people and the Palestinian cause. Nothing can justify what Hamas did to the people they attack with brutality and taking hostages, women, children, elderly people, and provoking such an intense Israeli response. Every civilian life is deplorable when it's lost. We condemn Hamas for this terrorist attack in the strongest terms. We urge them to free the hostages and to give immediate access to them to the Red Cross or Red Crescent. I met with several of their relatives who described the difficult health condition of many of them. But the European Union has also firmly stressed that the way that Israel performed its right to defense matters. That Israel needs to respect international humanitarian law and the principle of proportionality. And I passed this message yesterday, face to face, in very clear terms, to the Israeli authorities with which I met. A horror doesn't justify another horror. And the best friends of Israel are the ones who ask them not to be driven by rage. The European Union, and now also the United Nations, through the last United Nations Security Council resolutions adopted yesterday, has demanded an immediate humanitarian pauses and more access to the humanitarian assistance, including water and fuel, that can reach the civilian in Gaza. We at the European Union, since the start of the Israeli military campaign against Hamas, we have multiplied by 4 our humanitarian assistance to the people in Gaza to almost 100 million, and have increased our funding for UNRWA by another 10 million, bringing the funding over 90 million this year. But we know it's not enough. We know that humanitarian needs are immense, and to provide everything that more than 2 million people need is a gigantic effort. And the international community should be able to provide this assistance. Mr. Prime Minister, the war against Hamas in Gaza is the outcome of a collective political and moral failure of the international community. A great political and moral failure for which the Israelis and the Palestinian people are paying a high price. And only a political solution can end this untenable cycle of violence. Only political solution can stop it. And that's why I am on this tour, starting by Israel, following by Ramallah, to visit you, Palestinian Authority, in order to work with our partners on a way forward and look at what should done for this war to end and how to create a better future based in peace. And allow me to put on the table some ideas for the work that we have done. Because these dramatic events, at least, has taken the Palestinian issue out of the limbo.
Yes.
Nobody was taking seriously this problem. And now there is not another solution than to take it very much seriously. And this, the mental framework in which I think we have to work, is first, I can summarize it in 3 yes and 3 no's. And the first no is no to forced displacement of Palestinians in and from Gaza. No forced displacement of Palestinian people out of Gaza. No territorial changes. No to the reoccupation by Israel or a safe haven for Hamas in Gaza. No to the dissociation of Gaza from the overall Palestinian issue. The solution for Gaza has to be embedded as part of the solution to the whole Palestinian problem. So, no dissociation of Gaza from the overall Palestinian issue. And now the yeses, the yes. The first yes is the return of the Palestinian Authority to Gaza. I am saying the Palestinian Authority. You are already there. You never left Gaza. You have been providing public services to the population with our support. You have the capacity to continue doing this job. Maybe you will need support from the international community, but the Palestinian Authority has to return to Gaza. The second yes that we need is a stronger involvement of the Arab countries. And the third one is a greater involvement of the European Union, in particular on the political process in building the Palestinian state. We have a certain experience on state building in Europe, and we should engage on that in order to build a Palestinian state as a part of the two-state solution. But we should not forget the situation in the West Bank. You know better than I. I discussed also with my Israeli counterpart yesterday, and everybody should be aware that there is an upsurge of settled terrorism since October 7. Since the beginning of the year, 421 Palestinians has been killed in the Western Bank. And since the first days of October, since this dramatic 7th of October, is 202. It means that since this dramatic event started, the same number of Palestinians has been killed in the West Bank that since the beginning of the year until October.
Yeah.
This has increased the number of communities being forced out of their homes. Today there are more than 150 illegal hotspots, which main purpose is to serve as a staging basis for the settlers. We have urged Israeli authorities to address this issue at the highest level to prevent an eruption of violence in the West Bank. Our support to the Palestinian Authority as the only representative of the Palestinian people, the only representative of the Palestinian people, is both political and financial. We are the biggest international donor for the Palestinian people, and we will continue being the biggest financial contribution to the Palestinian Authority working. Because this war has shown us that we cannot, the Palestinian issue unresolved. However tragic it is now, and it is very tragic, we must seize the momentum to invest in peace and to work towards a solution of the conflict. We have to mobilize the international support for the political process to a two-state solution, a process that has been neglected for too long. The two-state solution is the only viable path to peace, and time has come to define concrete steps to take in order to implement it. Because we have been repeating for years, 30 years since Oslo agreements, two-state solution, without doing what is needed to implement that in practice. This is, Prime Minister, my message here in Ramallah. This is what I said yesterday in Israel. I'm saying the same thing in both places. And this is the message I will carry on my next destination, in Manama, in Riyadh, in Doha, and in Amman. Prime Minister, in September, remember, in New York, we launched the Peace Day effort to support to restart the peace process. At that moment, it was a lot of skepticism. And nobody was taking care of this effort unless you, me, and some of my people working with a vision about the need to deal with this problem. And today the current tragedy only forces us to redouble this effort for the benefit of the Palestinian people, so that they can finally live in freedom, peace and prosperity and dignity, side by side with the Israeli people living in peace and security. That's what we want to do. Count on the European Union as a predictable and reliable partner that remain and will continue with the Palestinian people in order to get this goal. Difficult it could be. More difficult today than yesterday. At least today is in the front page of all newspapers around the world. And this is a momentum in which the conscience of the international community has to mobilize in order to avoid a greater disaster. Because if there is not peace here in the Middle East, we will not be secure at home neither. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my dear friend Josep Borrell, the High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs, Security and Policy. Kindly allow me to make a short statement in English, and then I would like to move to Arabic, if you don't mind. First of all, I know that you have been visiting certain areas in Israel and you have seen what you have seen. It's a pity that you did not have the chance to see Gaza. It's a pity that you didn't see the 33,000 injured Palestinians and the 12,000 Palestinians killed. 5,241 of them are children. And it is a pity that you were not able to see the 251,000 housing units destroyed, of which around 60,000 are completely destroyed, forced Palestinians to leave north of Gaza into the south, with the south becoming like a concentration camp. A pity that you haven't seen water pipes that are empty, electric wires that are not transmitting any electricity, and Gaza is in full darkness. And that veins without blood, because people have already bleeded all the blood. And dead bodies under the ruins, more than 1,560 missing names who might be under the rubbles. So what you described is extremely catastrophic, and what Israel doing in Gaza is killing with the mood of revenge, killing for the sake of killing. And I hope that this killing should stop immediately. I fully agree with a number of issues that you've just simply stated. And I thank you for the courage that you have and you enjoy. We need to keep the Palestinians on their territory. 65% of our people who live in Gaza are of refugee origin, and this might be their second refuge. 75 years of being in a tent, and now people are going back to tents. The Palestinians never wanted but peace. And all what we wanted is not anybody to act as if they are above international law. What is happening today is a serious violation of international humanitarian law. Europe has been an important player in the guarantors of and respect of international humanitarian law. My dear friend, what we need immediately is an immediate ceasefire and the ability for us to provide food. There are people who have not eaten for days. There are kids who don't know what a drop of water looks like. It's going to be a rainy season, and kids and families are in the cold, in the open air. No tents, no shelter. Some of the families, they sleep at the seashore. What we need is also to allow the hospitals to function. The hospitals are there. All what they need is fuel. And Israel is not allowing fuel into Gaza. That's a crime under international law. Not to connect water, electricity is a crime. To deny people food is a crime. We should not limit international aid to Rafah only. There are 4 entry points that can get things into Gaza. Israel should be responsible for opening these entry points. It's not only Rafah crossing and so on. And my dear friend, instead of us building tents here and there, we should allow those who have been pushed out of the north of Gaza to go back to their homes. I know 40% of the homes might have been destroyed, but still there are 60% that are still standing there. Also, and you are right, while we think of today for a ceasefire immediately, our eyes are focused on tomorrow. And I know how much effort you injected to really bring a peace package, a plan for things to come even before October 7. And I know also that your eyes have been fully focused on what is happening in the West Bank. And you are right that more than 421 Palestinians have been killed here. Land confiscation has nothing to do with any violence. That in itself is a violence against the Palestinian farmers and people and so on. Incursions into the mosque has simply been a daily practice. Spitting on Christian pilgrimage that we have seen in Jerusalem is totally unacceptable. The humiliation of our prisoners, the humiliation at the checkpoints, all what Israel is doing in the West Bank is also a very alarming situation that if it was unavoidable in Gaza, I hope we can avoid it here so that we don't go into a cycle of a funeral, and so on. And you are right, my dear friend. Imagine a situation in which we are in Gaza there, as you rightly said. We have been providing the water, the electricity, we build the hospitals, we build the schools with your assistance. We have done the roads that are under destruction today. So we are not aliens to Gaza. These are our people. And it is an integral part of Palestine. So the day after should not be for one geography away from the rest. Palestinians need to see a solution. Palestinians need to see an end of occupation. Palestinians need to live in peace, and our kids should feel that tomorrow is full of hope and better than today. and that is what we will be working with you. What is needed, my dear friend, is a program that ends occupation with a plan, with a time frame, asking Israel to end this occupation within a time frame. The Security Council can be the forum, with Europe as a driving force. Everybody today, as you rightly said, is focusing on a solution. And I think we need to seize the moment where a solution is doable, achievable. And in conclusion, I want to tell you that your assistance to Palestine, both humanitarian assistance and development assistance, has been of great assistance, have been of great value to us. And we thank you for all what you do when it comes to helping our people, helping UNRWA, and helping us to get out of this miserable situation. Palestinians are resilient. We believe in our right to have a sovereign, contiguous, viable state of Palestine with Jerusalem as its capital. And you have invested a lot in institution building. You have helped our economy. You did help our infrastructure. Don't make that go with the wind. Because this Israeli government today does not care about two states, does not care about the Palestinian Authority, does not care about international law, does not care about respect of agreements, does not care about anything. This mood of revenge that Israel is driving Israel today should stop. The killing cycle should stop. Release of hostages, stopping this can lead to that. Therefore, we want to see a situation in which the calm, peace, and Palestinians enjoy the right also to defend themselves, because we have been under attack here. So, my dear friend, I salute your assistance. Your visit is very timely, and I appreciate the effort that you have been conducting on the other side here in the region. We all look at your assistance, and I hope that you take the lead in really bringing a solution that will put into the Palestinian sufferings. I welcome you. I heard the no's and the yeses that you have just mentioned, and I think we associate ourselves to the no's and to the yeses. I would like also to hope that European Union, with all the leaders, what you represent, call for an immediate ceasefire, because, my dear friend, if you are feeding me with dinner tonight and then I might get killed tomorrow, there is no point for dinner. So we need a ceasefire to enable food aid, medical supply to get into Gaza, and also to have a package where everybody goes home. Kindly allow me to switch to Arabic in respect of our journalists who are present here. I will make my statement very short. مرحبا فيكم. أرحب بالسيد جوزيف بوريل، وهو المفوض العام للعلاقات الخارجية في الاتحاد الأوروبي، وتحدثنا مع السيد بوريل على الحاجة بأنه لابد أن يكون هناك وقف فوري لإطلاق النار، وأن هناك حاجة لتوصيل المساعدات، وأن الذي يجري في قطاع غزة هو نتاج هذه السياسات الإسرائيلية التي أدت إلى ما نحن فيه الآن. ما يجري في قطاع غزة هو قتل جماعي بروح الانتقام، ونحن نريد لهذا القتل أن يتوقف. الضفة الغربية ليس بعيدة، هناك أكثر من 421 شهيد سقطوا منذ بداية العام، وحوالي 179 فلسطيني قتلوا منذ 17. في قطاع غزة الوضع مأساوي، لا طعام، لا ماء، لا شراب، وشلال الدم يسيل، ونحن نريد لهذا أن يتوقف فورا. عندما تقطع إسرائيل الماء والكهرباء هذا جريمة حرب. عندما تقصف المستشفيات هذا جريمة حرب. عندما يموت الناس من الجوع والعطش هذا جريمة حرب. الذي نطالب به وتحدثنا عنه أنه يجب أن يكون هناك احترام للقانون الدولي الإنساني. نحن بالنسبة لنا لم نكن بعيدين عن قطاع غزة. نحن نوفر الماء والدواء والكهرباء والبنى التحتية، وكوادرنا موجودة في قطاع غزة على مدار 17 عاما، ونحن ندفع للأطباء والمدرسين. وللأسف الشديد إسرائيل أرادت أن تعاقبنا على ما نقوم به تجاه أهلنا في قطاع غزة بأنها اقتطعت حوالي 600 مليون شيكل من إيراداتنا الضريبية. وبعض المنشآت التي تم بنائها بتمويل من المجتمع الدولي للأسف الشديد قصف بعضها وتم تدمير البعض الآخر. قلت للسيد جوزيف بوريل أن القضية الفلسطينية عمرها 75 عام، ونحن بانتظار حل سياسي، ولا بد لهذا الحل السياسي أن يكون في إطار مؤتمر دولي، والاتحاد الأوروبي مؤهل أن يلعب الدور المركزي والرئيسي في الدعوة لهذا المؤتمر استنادا إلى القانون الدولي والشرعية الدولية. نحن نريد إنهاء للاحتلال، ونحن كنا قد ذهبنا إلى المجتمع الدولي الذي اعترف بدولة فلسطين، ونحن نعمل على تجسيدها على الأرض هنا، ونناضل من أجل سيادتها واستقلالها من خلال إطارنا النضالي منظمة التحرير الفلسطينية. السيد بوريل، أنني آمل منك العمل على الوقف الفوري لإطلاق النار، أن تفتح إسرائيل جميع المعابر لكي نتمكن من إيصال المساعدات إلى شمال قطاع غزة وإلى جنوبها، ولا نعتمد فقط على معبر رفح. كما أنني آمل أن نطالب إسرائيل أن يعود المهجرين النازحين إلى بيوتهم في شمال قطاع غزة، وأن يتم عودة وربط شبكة المياه والكهرباء. نحن أيضا نقول كما ذكرت في خطابك أنه لا تجزئة للحل السياسي. اليوم الذي يلي وقف إطلاق النار يعني أفق وخطة سياسية تشمل جميع الأراضي الفلسطينية. قطاع غزة جزء لا يتجزأ من أراضي دولة فلسطين، والحل يجب أن يكون شاملا. نقدر جهدك الشخصي على مختلف المستويات، ونقدر الدعم المادي الذي تقدم أوروبا والاتحاد الأوروبي، وأنه إذا بقيت إسرائيل متمردة على القانون الدولي والمجتمع الدولي فإنني آمل أن تعترف أوروبا بدولة فلسطين، خاصة تلك الدول التي لم تعترف بعد، وأن يكون هناك مسار سياسي ينهي الاحتلال. وإذا لم تلتزم إسرائيل بذلك لابد من فرض عقوبات جدية على إسرائيل. القيادة الفلسطينية بالشرعية التي يمثلها السيد الرئيس كعنوان للشعب الفلسطيني، نحن جاهزون أن ننخرط في أي مسار سياسي يؤدي إلى إنهاء الاحتلال، ونحن جاهزون أيضا عندما تتاح الفرصة وينتهي هذا الدمار أن نذهب إلى انتخابات عامة فيها يقول الشعب الفلسطيني قوله في كل القضايا التي هي مطروحة أمامنا. مرة أخرى أرحب بك سيد جوزيف بوريل وبما تمثله، وأنا على ثقة أننا سوية نستطيع أن ندفع الأمور إلى الأمام من أجل أفق سياسي ينهي الاحتلال، يقيم دولتنا المستقلة ذات السيادة متواصلة الأطراف على كامل الأراضي الفلسطينية. وشكرا.